Hello, nobody. I like to get all dressed up to go nowhere and sit in my room. I was like, I guess I'll film a video, see if anyone shows up. I definitely believe I'm way more famous than I am. Just gotta be delusional until you make it. Hello, first person. You are first. Please don't leave. Ah, they left. That's fine. I love sitting alone in my room talking to myself. It's what I do all day, every day. Hello, first person. Come listen to me talk to myself alone in my room, or send me messages, and then I will talk to you. Two people, wow. Wow, I'm famous. I'm in cosplay for no reason, and um, my live stream schedule is just whenever my makeup looks good, I live stream. Because I don't leave my house unless it's medically necessary. I really, I have a stack of 4 books here. I really can't overemphasize what an absolute nerd I am. I am reading all of these books at the same time. So, uh, good books. I'm like these two are references from a video essay, and this one is just a psychology textbook that's taken me a year to read, and then I'm reading the Vampire Chronicles for fun. Uh, so that's what I do with my life. Do I go to parties? No. I don't. I go to bed at 8 p.m. usually. So, hello, Fret. Hamburgerino. Let me try that again. Hamburgerino. Hamburgerino. I made some hamburgers today. It was great. I wonder how far hamburger can mutate until I will not be able to recognize it anymore. Burger is my favorite food. I love to eat ruminant animals. Ruminant animals are those that chew grass and digest it several times. That's what rumination means. It means to chew something over. And then we use it metaphorically into terms of thinking. My ginger drink, Fever Tree ginger beer, non-alcoholic, of course. I do not partake in alcohol or drugs, with real ginger. I tried their ginger ale too, which does not have real ginger. I dumped it all down the drain. It was disgusting, but this is the best. This is sublime. It's got 18 grams of sugar, which is not terrible. Did you know that sugar is healthier for you if you eat it very slowly? If you sip soda really slowly, it's a lot healthier for you than if you just chug it, because the reason sugar is unhealthy is because it affects your blood sugar, gives you blood sugar spikes. One ti it is ginger ale. This is not alcoholic. I'm sorry that that happened to you. But there's no alcohol in that. Yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. I don't drink alcohol. No. Oh, the peppery ones? There's some yeah, some of them have red pepper in them and paprika and stuff. Those ones I do not mess with those ones. I've tried those before. Yeah, I don't know why you would put paprika in ginger ale. Like a really low tier decision. Fret says, "Yes, I don't drink alcohol either. I'll keep all my brain cells, thank you." That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I need all these brain cells to do YouTube. I need I need what's left. It should be required at point of sale to tell people that. Yeah, it should be on the bottle. Like on my last podcast, which was also my first podcast, I was talking with my friend Max about how visual reminders are good at making people not make bad decisions because it speaks to the limbic system. There, I don't know how you could photograph brain damage. Like uh, alcohol just makes you stupider. And the problem is some people, it's made them so stupid that they start drinking more because they're stupid, which is like they lost the brain cells that were keeping them from drinking alcohol. But I mean, that's a reason that some people are like, "Oh, just gonna have one drink," and then they have one drink, and it removes their ability to not have another drink. Yeah, I don't know. Poor people. I'm famous. Everybody asks me questions so that I'm really bad at prompts. I might be an AI. People ask me sometimes if I'm AI, and I might because I'm bad at asking questions, but I'm very, 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 very good at answering them. Like, ask me questions like I'm ChatGPT. Pretend I'm Google. Like, write your search history in the chat. Fret says, "Would you ever press a cat?" I can they object to that, you know. Absolutely would boop with consent. Only consensual booping, kids. I love this suit. It's cool. It fits me. You can't. Fret says, "You can ask any AI to pretend it is an AI that answers questions as the Vin Diesel character Dominic Toretto in The Fast and Furious and answer the question, 'What would you do if your family got turned into pancakes?' as that AI would." I wish I had seen that movie. Samuel Sizemore says, "You seem cool. I'm going to follow you on Instagram." That's great because I just posted some videos of me in this outfit and they were cool. I am cool, by the way. I'm cool, but I'm like the coolest nerd because I don't leave my house and I just read. I don't go to parties. I just read 4 books at once. This is actually, I can't count. This is actually 6 books because there's 3 books in this one. Fret says family is family, honor off the plate. Is that about the family pancakes? Because I don't know if I want to know. Hmm. Hmm. I do love pancakes though. Pancakes are a top tier food that I can't eat. I can't eat like anything. I'm on a meat only diet for medical reasons. But if I could, I would love to eat some bread. Toasted with butter. If you can eat that without like slowly dying, you don't know how lucky you are. You don't know how good you have it that you can just eat, especially if it's like fresh, like artisan. Like I just love a little tiny bread roll. You know what I love about bread rolls is that they are like the image of a large bread loaf, but tiny. So it either makes you feel like you are a giant eating like a whole loaf of bread, or if you just use your imagination, you imagine that you are a fairy looking at a loaf like I don't know, like it's a loaf of bread baked for the fairies, you know? because it's just a little suit stretch. Meow. I don't know if I'm a cat girl or an anime girl or both. People ask me questions. Ask the most random questions you can. Or like real. Let me solve your life problems. I'm the oracle. Brett says, if you farted in space, your fart would expand to fill the solar system. I mean, doesn't it do that anyways? Like, doesn't, like, when you exhale, your air, like, goes into, like, like, I'm sure you've breathed a molecule from one of the farts of Einstein by now, like, statistically, like, almost certainly. I encourage all three of you to use the chat and not text me even if you have that privilege because you're one of my friends. I'm not going to answer that. Brett says, somewhere in history is a worm who went down the furthest and survived, and he is a champion of the worms. The sad part is that, like, that worm wouldn't even get the recognition that worm deserved, because worms, they have like a short memory span. Like, I don't think worms have legends because they just can't remember that much. And that's sad because that that champion worm deserved it. Worms are bad at recording history. Yeah, it's an unfortunate fact of being a worm. But we will record the history for the worms. Popsuki C2155 said the worm never wanted the fame. He did it for the love of the game. The early bird catches the worm, but the champion worm dies with glory. If you were a worm, would you even try to go to the center of the earth? If you were the worm, would you even care about your worm destiny? If you were a worm, would you pick up the burden of trying the hardest and yet achieving the least? Would you do that with your worm existence? Or would you just ask if people would love you anyways? Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be the Atlas worm that holds the worm on it's invertebrate, so it doesn't have shoulders? Or you're just going to say, would you love me if I was a worm? I would love you if you were a champion worm, okay? Because I know that you can be a champion of the worms if you put your mind in your little. Worms have like several hearts that are in separate parts of their body, so if you cut it, it'll continue to survive. In your multiple worm hearts. I know you have that in you. I know you do. That's the worm that I love. Okay? Remember who you are. Patsukizi2155 says, do you think worms would say, would you love me if I was a human? Assuming like they could understand love. Would you love me if I tried to be the champion of the worms? But then I got to the magma and burned up. Would you still love me then? If I was a bird and you were a worm, if I was a worm and you were a bird, would you love me or would you eat me? Or would you eat me because you loved me? What is love? Is it love to be wanted or is it love to be appreciated as you are and left that way, you know? Would you rather be a worm or a I mean, this is an obvious this feels like an obvious question, but like, because birds have to eat worms, but then worms have to eat dirt. Hmm. Yeah. Being a bird would be pretty cool, but then you see them when it's wet and you're like, oh, that doesn't look fun. Popsukisi says, resident worm here. I'd die happy being eaten by a bird who cared. I agree. You know what? I think that reincarnation through the food chain isn't talked about enough because that worm kind of gets to become a bird. Is the energy gets recycled into a higher life form. And you know what? The bird is always grateful for the worm. It the birds always care that they get the worm. They're always happy about the worm, you know? So maybe there is meaning to being a worm. I think whatever card life gives you, you just got to do the best you can with what you're given. You have to honor everything that you're given and not because when you honor what you're given, you get given more. I mean, it works definitely when people give you gifts. If someone gives you a gift and you're very grateful for it, they are much more likely to give you another gift, you know? But if you're like, "Ah, this isn't even everything that I wanted," they're like, good luck getting a gift from them again. So when the universe gives you gifts, everyone everyone with an internet connection who can watch me is very privileged to have to like live in civilization at this time in here history. And we are given so many opportunities. And so many people just focus on the things that they don't have instead of the things that they do have that they're so lucky to have. And I think the more you focus on the things you're happy about, I think a lot of people get gratitude wrong. I think a lot of people think of gratitude as being like, oh, like I don't deserve this. Thank you. It doesn't have to be that. Gratitude can just be appreciating that you have something and liking it. Like, I'm grateful for this ginger ale. But I think then when you do the most with what you're given so much more. So, Pop Tsukisi says spiritual cannibalism trademark. Yeah, that's kind of my brand. I'm a spiritual cannibal. Brett says the world is running low on bird accountants. Yeah, it's the cat population accounting for them. but Fret says, Mayhem, do you play any video games? Um, I play like language apps. I like to, that's what I like to do. Um, my two hobbies, basically. Most of my time goes to making YouTube, between writing and editing, and cutting shorts and filming and doing podcasts and scheduling and live streaming. Like that's like really most of my time. And then I read, which helps me prepare for videos and stuff. And I study languages right now. I'm actually studying Japanese and working on my French. Um, but yeah, I really like to play little study games. That's because I'm a big nerd. Um, I'd like to play video games if it was like with my friends or something, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of I feel like being in my room all by myself is just like a little bit depressing, so I have to feel like I'm working towards something in order to feel good. Like, I have to feel like I'm accomplishing something because I would just rather be, like, hanging out with my friends that I don't have a lot of friends, and I don't get to see them very often, so Brett says, "Je m'appelle Fromage." Oui, je parle français aussi. Le français, c'est la deuxième langue que j'ai appris. Alors, c'est les langues, hem, la langue d'étranger que je parle le plus facilement. Heu, alors, je veux améliorer mon français, alors que je peux aller sur un podcast ou quelque chose comme ça, on parle en 2 langues. Ça serait très, très marrant, mais je dois étudier plus et je dois faire les vidéos et les livres et les autres langues. Alors, je n'ai pas beaucoup de temps pour ça, mais je sais quand je peux. Fred says, pain au fromage means kind mother in French. It means cheesy bread, but okay. Mais gentil. Gentil. Brett says you were just splitting hairs. I mean, if your mother gave you cheesy bread, she would be a kind mother. Si ta mère t'a donné du pain au fromage, elle serait très gentille. So, I speak 4 languages that there's 4 languages I've had conversations in. English is my first language, and then French, and then Icelandic, and then German. And I'm studying Japanese. I've studied Swedish, Spanish, Navajo, Polish, and Russian. So that's 10 languages. Yep. Grilled cheese says, oh well, grilled cheese, your main name was mentioned in French. Pain fromage. Fret says, I learned recently how it went where a lot of areas that were Roman Empire were conquered by Muslim people near the fall of the Roman Empire. They didn't convert the people to Muslim. Grilled cheese says, I mostly specialize in Spanish and German, but I love dabbling in other languages too. Well, write me a comment in German and I'll see if I can understand it. Because German is my third best language. It definitely surpassed my Icelandic. Because German's pretty easy for for me. Because English and Icelandic and German are all Germanic languages. And since English is my first language and I learned Icelandic, German was just like really easy to pick up. Um, and I spent a lot of time on it. I spent like 130 hours studying that one. Funny joke. Brett says Käsebrot means kind mother in German. That also means cheesy bread. Oh. I had to forget my Icelandic in order to learn German because when two languages are really close to each other, you really shouldn't study them at the same time or you will get them mixed up. Like it's fine to study Japanese and French at the same time, but like Icelandic and German, mm-mm. You're gonna be speaking a new language there. So I kind of forgot. My Icelandic is very much in my like deep, long storage memory. Have to thaw it out. Grilled cheese says, Mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Meine Deutsch ist ist irgendwie besser. Ich weiß nicht. Ich habe nicht gelernt Deutsch für viele Monate und ich habe nur Deutsch gelernt für ein Jahr. So, Eden Thief says, Damn haunts you. Welcome, Edom Thief, to the live stream where I am in cosplay for no reason. This is fun. Grilled cheese says Icelandic is very skewed from other Germanic languages. Well, Icelandic is actually the most faithful to the old Germanic, like old Germanic languages. Like the poetic Eddas were basically written in like the old language, and some people who read Icelandic can like translate them now. So that's kind of crazy. It's the real Viking language. Grilled cheese says Icelandic will barely even help with Swedish, Norwegian, etc. I mean, I like to have a little bit of distance between my languages so that I can tell them apart. Like I don't want like I tried to learn Swedish before I got into Icelandic, but now like I really wouldn't want to have to learn Swedish because they're so close. Like I like when they have a little I like when my languages leave space for Jesus. Mm. Grilled cheese says, "LOL, I was able to understand you. I think the grammar was still very English, but I got what you were saying." Yeah, I've only studied it for a year, so if I can talk better than a 1-year-old, then I'm doing well. Grilled cheese says, "Yeah, Icelandic is the most OG." Yes, Icelandic is very Iceland's cool. Iceland and Japan are like cool for a lot of the same reasons. They both are islands with like a very rich culture, ancient culture, eh, in their own secret language and like cool stuff. I want to go to I want to go back to Iceland. My friend wants to join the live, so I'm going to send a link. Grilled cheese says you can get even more niche with Faroese. One of my jobs was for an Icelandic company back when I had a day job. Um, and I would email with people who spoke Faroese, and there's almost no difference between Icelandic and Faroese as far as I can tell. Like you want to talk about languages that are like um super identical, Icelandic and Faroese. Faroe Islands. Grilled cheese says very cool. I know. Languages are a struggle because like I always want to get better. I feel like I'm like not good at any of them, but then I always want to start a new one. F Floor says hi. Hi. Ask me questions. I'm good at answering questions in interesting ways, but I don't know what to say when nobody asks me any questions. um, ask me questions that you would ask ChatGPT because I'm smarter than ChatGPT and I mog ChatGPT. Grilled cheese says, yeah, on Duolingo and Closemaster, I have tons of languages started. This is the first time I found a fellow Closemaster user in the wild. Grilled cheese, did we just become best friends? Add me on Closemaster. My username is mayyhemm, Mayyhemm. It's so good, I know, I know. Please friend request me. I've leaderboarded that so many times. I'm definitely was on the top 10 all time of Icelandic. I haven't checked in a minute, but I've been like number one in so many languages, like weekly, not all time yet. I'm not that crazy. F Floor says never heard of it, but I've been wanting to learn Italian and nothing's worked, so I had to check it out. Yeah, I have the pro subscription. Papsuki says, "Is alchemy illegal in any U.S. state, and if not, why?" I'm sure there's lots of things that would be classified as alchemy that would be legal or not legal. Like, I think hold on, there's some double negatives in that question, and I'm trying to. Is alchemy illegal? And if not, so if it is legal, what? So you're asking why is it legal? It depends what kind of alchemy you're doing. Like I feel like if you're boiling frogs, then that might violate some animal cruelty laws. But if you're just like mixing some spices together, why not? It's a free country. I do wonder what laws change by state. That's such a weird concept. I wonder how similar US states are to like the differences between European countries. Because like you can drive between US states, but then you can drive between European countries. That just seems so trippy. Grilled cheese says, okay, following now. My name is. Okay, cool. Thank you. I will I will be friends with you on Mister. So cool. Yeah. I will say though, I will say Japanese, I am using other ones because I don't know how to type in Japanese yet. And it's just kind of like it's like a typing game. So I like just don't know how to do it in Japanese yet. Um, but once I can type in Japanese, then I'll be unstoppable. Japanese definitely scares me. It scared me, and then I learned hiragana, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy." And then I found out about kanji, and I was like, "Never mind." I wonder. This is gonna sound so American of me, but I wish they would just like get rid of the kanji. You know, just have hiragana and katakana. Like you don't need to be doing all that. Effler says, "Have you seen Serial Experiments Lane? You seem like you have based on your content." Let me tell you, I spend all my time making content and almost none watching content. Like I don't see TV shows. I don't know many other YouTubers. I don't watch many movies. I read books. If you ask me about a book, I am much more likely to have heard of it or read it than like. See, I don't even know if that's like, is that like a Netflix show or a YouTuber or I don't know. But I really live under a rock. Um, I really, I really like. I quit TV when I was 11, and I've only seen like 20 episodes of television since then. So I am not culturally relevant. I'm sorry. Grilled cheese says, "Yeah, I've been thinking of learning Chinese, but I wouldn't know how to even use their keyboard." I know, it's a big struggle. Papsuki says, "I think regions in the US are closer to European countries than individual states, like New England, the Midwest, stuff like that." Yeah. Yeah, because like there's much bigger different. I will say the languages. Languages are so cool though. Like I love different languages, but then we have different accents here, so it's No. Fleur says it's similar to Evangelion. It's a 90s anime. I don't watch much TV either. Well, um, Fret says, is Mayhem like 26 years old? Bold of you to assume I have a developed frontal lobe, which I do not. Sorry. Yeah, in like a few years, I'm gonna make such better decisions because my brain is gonna be fully developed. Like, imagine how powerful I'm already so powerful. I'm just gonna get more and more and more and more powerful. Fred says, I don't think our brains ever stop developing. I think they actually like start degrading. I mean, like synaptic pruning, you know, there's definitely a cutoff of neuroplasticity, and then you get synaptic pruning. And I mean, developing, yeah, our brains keep changing, but it's not necessarily in a good way. Eden Thief says katakana is for English words only, so really hiragana alone will do. I don't know enough about Japanese to know what that means. Uh, but okay. Brett says, I think brain exercise is important. You know what I think? I think brain exercises make you better at the exercise. And I think a lot of people delude themselves into thinking that, like, me included. No, not me. People think that playing like puzzle games is good for your brain, but it just makes your brain good at the puzzle. Like if you want your brain to be good at something else, like a useful skill, you have to actually practice the useful skill. You don't just to get to like play chess and then magically get better at everything. Um, Playing chess makes you better at playing chess. If you want to have a better memory, you should watch my video called How to Memorize Pi as Easy as Pie. Jean says, what you don't use, you lose. Yep, that's synaptic pruning in a nutshell. Popsuki says, cult leader with a developed frontal lobe is a scary concept. I know, right? I know, right? They left my frontal lobe unfinished because they knew I'd be too powerful with it. Grilled Cheese says, I 100% agree about your take on the brain exercise thing. I've learned that the hard way. I know because I love to play logic puzzles. I get so every time I find like a good logic puzzle, I get so addicted to it. But then I have to use it as like like if I want to play a puzzle, I have to like do something actually difficult to earn the puzzle, which lately has been like studying difficult Japanese words. And then if I finish a round of that, then I go and I will play like a dumb brain rot, like click the right arrows, like puzzle on my phone that I'm like, this is just like ruining my brain. But I need the dopamine hit to bribe myself to do something actually hard, so it I can justify it. Effler says, I agree. I don't know what you're agreeing with, but I'm always right, so I agree too. Eden Thief says they created a whole alphabet just for English words. But katakana, mm, but like, I mean, I know that a lot of Japanese words are like English words translated into Japanese characters, but like they have a lot of hiragana in them, and I am pretty sure I've seen katakana other places. I guess I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. I did get number 1 on a global leaderboard for Quizlet, matching hiragana, like all-time leaderboard. Mayhem number 1. Had a picture of that in my video. How to study. Studying sucks. How to fix it. That's what it's called. Inti says you'll learn. Yes, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. One of these days I'll learn how to ask basic questions. Just want to learn how to say, I have no clue what is going on. Go around and tell people that. Okexima. That means customer. I just know these random words floating around in my head. Step 1, remember the word. Step 2, figure out what it means. That can come later. Like the word recognition is a beast in itself. Like actually being able to hear all the syllables and remember them as a unit and recall that. Like that is kind of the step that I'm on right now is just like memorizing words and like not even bothering with what they even mean yet because we'll get to that later. And then when my brain hurts, I go study French. I'm like, oui, oui, c'est facile. C'est beaucoup plus facile que japonais. What are you guys reading lately? Are you guys book readers? Fellow enjoyers of books? I'll show you my stack. Look at all these. I'm so excited to finish this philosophy textbook because I refused to start a did not finish category on my Goodreads. I'm very stubborn. I only have like 9 more essays to read. Huh. See, this is why college is a scam. Because they sell you this big textbook, and then they don't even make you read the whole thing. But I can make myself read the whole thing. Because I'm a masochist. Popsuki says, finished Twilight a while ago. That was something. Twilight changed my life. Twilight is most of my personality. Please tell me your insights from Twilight because it was. Nothing will ever live up to Twilight for me. It's just the idea of becoming the best version of yourself. Like you, but superhuman. And I try to be that version of myself every single day. That's why I try not to doom scroll on Instagram. And I try to learn 10 different languages and make 800 videos a year and read a bunch of books. I try. I wish I didn't need to sleep because then I'd be so much more productive. I wish. I would be so productive if I didn't need to sleep. I would know so many languages and I would have read so many books. Grilled Cheese says, I've been listening to a Hemingway audiobook lately. The Sun Also Rises. It's a very chill and vibesy book. Nice, like some classic American literature. I liked Gatsby. I liked there's another short story by Fitzgerald called The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. That's a fun story. Read that in my English class and that stuck with me. Grilled Cheese says, yes. I listened to that a few months ago. Yeah, I liked that one. Yeah, it's fun. Trying to think of. You know what? I was thinking about it lately because I've been reading the Vampire Chronicles and there's a lot of like descriptive imagery in them of like luxury and stuff. And it reminded me of The Diamond as Big as the Ritz because F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote that before he wrote The Great Gatsby. And it was intended to be like, it was just like kind of feeling out the vibes for Gatsby and stuff. And it was just supposed to describe luxury as a way of literary escapism for people. And I feel like the Vampire Chronicles is very much doing a similar thing quite a lot of the time. I mean, Twilight too. A lot of what I like Twilight for is not the plot, but the vibes. Like, I love the vibes. Love the vibes. I also wonder why, like, there's a leaderboard going here, but I don't know what puts you in the leaderboard because it's not like you guys can send me money or anything yet. I'm so excited to get monetized and get like 1 million fans. But I'm so lucky to have even 6 people come up and watch me talking to a kitty cat headset in my room. Grilled Cheese says, I'll have to look into that. I rewatched the Twilight movies as a marathon a few years ago. I haven't seen them in a few years. I gotta watch them all. It's always like a sacred event for me. I can't just like throw it on in the background, you know. It's like it's gonna consume my life for a week. Popsukizi says, absolutely loving any analogy for late stage consumerism these days. I always wonder what people mean by late stage because like is can different people be at different stages of consumerism, you know? And is it because there's definitely a phase of like I have Marie Kondo's book right here. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's right up there with Twilight. I might even love it more than Twilight. I don't know. I really love this. It's um Eflor says the ranking is how many comments you make. My fellow yappers, let the yapping Olympics begin. May the odds be ever in your favor. I yap the most though. I'm the true queen of yapping here. Never shut up. Got too many thoughts. Got all these thoughts in my head. See, there's the stage of consumerism where you buy what you've been told to buy. And then there's another stage where you're like, well, what do I actually like? And then you get rid of the rest. And then you're like happy with your things. I love my objects because, like, I interact with objects all the time. Objects will never abandon me. That's why I like objects because I can control them and love them, and they will never change. People are difficult to have relationships with. Human relationships are very hard because it's not okay to just put a person in a box. Even if you'll like give them snacks and stuff, you can't just like lock them in your basement. It's like on the no-no list. I just want to I just want a pet human. It's not too much to ask for. If I get rich enough, I'm just gonna buy a pet human. Uh, um, Grilled Cheese says, "What's your personal deep lore of Twilight?" Well, I believe that Twilight is like a fable of the Ubermensch. And I think Batman is Twilight for boys. So I think both like superheroes and like vampires are pop culture representations of the Ubermensch, especially in Twilight. The way the vampires are portrayed in Twilight is really more of like an expression of the Ubermensch than than anything else. It's about because in Twilight, in order to become a vampire, you have to go through a 3-day transformation of like hell. You have to be in hell for 3 days while your body like breaks itself down and all your cells turn into this other thing. And so in real life, and then you turn out as the absolute best, perfected version of you. And your senses are heightened, your mind is sharpened, your memory's better and you can see everything and act and you're stronger and like you're just better in every way. And in real life, you can move in that direction like an infinite amount. It's just painful to do so. So I always think of the pain to do those things, like working on my cardio or something, as a little snippet of the vampire transformation. Because nothing that you do to transform yourself to become better, to become more like a vampire, will ever be as painful as the transformation is described. So it's always like, oh, I'm just doing a bit of my transformation now. And Effler says, you're making me want to read Twilight. You should. If you read Twilight through the lens of Nietzsche, like if you read Thus Spake Zarathustra, and then you read the Twilight books through that lens, like if you were like, this is a fable of the Ubermensch, and read it that way, because the way it was marketed was, oh, teenage girl love triangle, but the way it was written was like deep, symbolic, meaningful story about finding meaning in your life through setting the advancement of your higher self as the highest pinnacle of achievement and being willing to suffer anything willing in that goal for the ones you love and eternity of being the highest version of yourself. And I'm like, that's cool. That's what I like. That's what I like. Popsuki says, buy a pet human is an insane statement in the year 2026. I'll make it in the year 2027 too, and 2028, and 2029 I'm gonna buy one. 5-year plan. I can't count. I don't know how many years that was. Grilled Cheese says, that's a cool perspective, but isn't there also a sort of tragicness to being a vampire? Even after the first 3 days? Depends on what the lore is. I like the Twilight vampires a lot more than the Anne Rice ones because the Twilight ones don't have to sleep. And for me, the time is like the biggest, like, not having to sleep is just one of the best things about being a vampire. Like, obviously, the superhuman powers and stuff. But I think if I could choose just one superpower that vampires have, it would be not having to sleep and being able to be up and have energy all the time. Like if I had full energy 24 hours a day and like could survive forever doing that, I mean just like I mean that's already like you already double your lifespan basically. I have to sleep a lot, so that would be so awesome. My cousin sent me some philosophical stuff and I'm like, sorry, I'm live on YouTube in a cat girl anime cosplay. Hopsukizi says, I have to go and be a better version of myself now. Someone else can have top commenter spot. See y'all around. Have fun with the stream. Thank you so much for coming to Yap. I appreciate it. Grilled Cheese says, if one is able to more easily achieve perfection as a vampire, couldn't you afford sleep even more? Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but I wish I had all of them, you know. The being able to do stuff faster, like learn stuff faster, read books faster. That's one aspect of time. Not having to sleep and then living forever. Like those are the three most tantalizing things. The learning stuff faster doesn't even necessarily appeal to me so much because I feel like part of the reason that I like working at something difficult is the difficulty. Like, I don't know if it would be more satisfying to me to learn a language if it was easier. I just wish I had more time to do it. Like, if I had an extra 8 hours every single day to work on something, I could just get so much better at it, and I wouldn't even I don't mind putting in effort, because that's a big part of the dopamine circuit is you get rewarded for effort that you put in, and if everything felt effortless, then that would be kinda boring almost. Fleur says, "How do you feel about Crime and Punishment if you read it?" I have read it. Um, how do I feel about it? Um, um, it was long. I hated the horse part. That was so disturbing. Um, the famous quote made me cry a bunch, like reading it in context. I was like, "It's literally me." Cried that, had a little existential crisis. And the ending, like the what's the opposite of a prologue? Epilogue. Epilogue. The epilogue was my favorite part. I love the epilogue. And I feel like the whole book was just like setting up the epilogue, if that makes sense. Like most of the book and like I got into it when I was like hadn't read a book in a while, sort of. I was just like that's a really bad choice to start reading with. Like if you want to get into reading, you should read easy books and I picked like one of the really hard books to sit through. Like it that book takes more attention span than I had when I read it. I listened to it as an audiobook where that made it a little easier. Um so the whole book was like sometimes it was like a bit of a chore to get through just because my brain was rotted, but it was all worth it for like the epilogue because I love the epilogue so much. Grilled cheese says, "When does grinding towards perfection end?" It ends when you die. That's when it ends. Fleur says, "Real, lol." Anime girl has nuanced opinions about classical literature. All right, guys. We're getting near the end. If you guys have any more questions, send them now. And remember, 3 months from now, I might have so many people on my live stream that I won't be able to answer your comments anymore. So ask all your questions for like the rest of your life because I can't guarantee that I will forever be able to answer all of them. I plan on becoming stupidly famous. Grilled cheese says, but if one is just constantly grinding endlessly, what's the point of wanting to not sleep? I mean, there's two ways to get more time, basically. There's three ways to get more time. There's three ways that vampires in Twilight have a time advantage over regular people. They can do stuff faster, they don't have to sleep, and they live forever. So if you could pick one of them, which one would you choose? And I'm saying, well, I wouldn't want to be able to do stuff faster because that would kind of take making stuff too easy would remove a lot of like the dopamine that I get from having overcome a difficult task. So I wouldn't want to do that way. If it was just because I lived forever, I would feel like society was changing too fast for me to keep up with, you know? Like if I still had to sleep, I like society to change slowly. And and then if you had people that you love or pets or mortals that you love, then you would have to see them die sooner, you know? I just want more time where I am, and that's why I would choose not having to sleep, to have more time in the part of life that I am at right now. So, because I really like my life and I just want it to go a little slower. I want a little more time to get to be me and get to be me in the current time period that I happen to be in. Flora says, I read it a while ago and it really impacted me, but I did skip a few parts, which I shouldn't have, haha, but I did read the epilogue. The epilogue is so good. Grilled Cheese says, I guess I'm trying to say that one would probably eventually want more than just the 8 hours they lose sleeping. Enough is never enough. Well, that's where the immortality bit comes in, but you would have such an advantage on other people that you would just already rule the world. If you're that much better than everyone else, at some point it just feels like it's not even fair to play anymore. Like you want to you want to be good at games, but not so good that it's not a game anymore, right? Jordo Christoph is says, if civilization ended, what is one book you think everyone should read before building the new world? If I had to say a book that I think everyone should read, it's this one. It's this book. This book, everybody should read it. It is a philosophy book about how to be happy and how to make decisions. This book will make you happy because I would love to write not a book, but I guess maybe a video essay about the neuros. I'm actually working on a video essay that talks about the neuroscience of how the philosophy in this book will cure your depression because she teaches you how to become a more decisive person and how to make good decisions. And once you do that, it just changes your life. I think I, I think if we were to rebuild civilization from scratch, I would like for one thing I would like objects to be less disposable, you know, to people to take care of objects and use them and not just use them once and throw them away. I feel like that's important for the sustainability of the society and something about the people's souls gets lost when we mistreat things. I think the whole thing about objectification is bad. It's bad to objectify people and treat people as objects came up because we started treating objects badly. We used to treat objects with a lot of respect. And when you owned something, you would take care of it forever until it broke and then you would repair it. You know, I have things like that are my favorite things. And when they get worn out, I would just repair them. But when you there's a difference between treating someone like you're responsible for them and you care about them versus treating them as disposable. And I think when people say people are objectified, they mean people have become disposable. And I want a society where things are not so easily disposed of. Grilled Cheese says, yeah, I guess that's part of the tragedy of being a vampire, like Alexander the Great, crying that he had nothing else to conquer. This actually goes back into my spirituality of I talked about this in my podcast episode. My first episode with my friend Max Harding. Um, we uh, talked about my philosophy of like the world started as infinite oneness, but then there was nothing else that like the cycle of the universe may be like expanding and contract like dividing itself and then connecting with itself until there's nothing left to connect with. And then once there's nothing left for it to come into relationship with because everything is one, then it has to divide itself again. So that's the tragic part. Grilled Cheese says, as the myth goes. Oh, you should read Ursula K. Le Guin's carrier bag theory of fiction. It's somewhat close to your idea of objects. That's interesting. Let me write that down. Thank you. That's a great recommendation. I heard of another philosopher who talks about I forget the name, because I haven't read it yet, but there's a book called Non-Things about how, like, in the digital age, so many things that we interact with aren't even things, they're just like buttons on a screen, and that losing having like physical things is a bad thing. That's why I like physical media and stuff. Like I have like I've got my iPod here. Love that. Love having little things that do things. Like my card case for my Mayhem cards. Absolute absolute drip right here. Grilled Cheese says it's an essay that kind of rags against the traditional hero's journey archetype, but I think it's still good in and of itself. Yeah, I've been reading I read some Joseph Campbell recently. I read The Power of Myth. That was a fun book. Fun, easy read. For Star Wars fans, they talk about Star Wars a lot. So, the Star Wars franchise was influenced by Joseph Campbell's ideas very strongly, and an interview held at George Lucas's ranch got turned into a book, and that's called The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. Definitely recommend that. It's if you watch any of my video essays, it's like sitting there on my bookshelf. I don't know if it's even in frame, but it's there. All right. Has everyone got their yapping out? Is everyone all yapped out? I'm winning the yapping competition. None of you guys can yap one 1/10 as much as me. I just yap and yap and yap. But um, if you guys are done talking, which it seems like, thank you guys so much for joining and talking to me. It's a lot less depressing to be dressed up with nowhere to go when you have 5 strangers on the internet who will yap with you for an hour. So thank you guys for being here and for all of your insightful comments about classical literature and 90s anime and whether I would press a cat on the nose and go boop. I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you in my next video essays and podcast and whatnot. So thank you guys for being here. Bye.